Hi, I'm Brooke Hamaty, and the book I chose to read for my book report this semester was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. This book was about making financially smart decisions and ultimately building up your financial knowledge. The author does this by talking about his personal experiences and knowledge that he gained from both his rich dad and his poor dad. However, his rich dad was not directly related to him. He compares and contrasts both mindsets of the two most important influencers, at the time of his, when he was younger, which would be both of his dads. But as he grew older, he talks about how he was able to take his knowledge that he gained from his rich dad and ultimately end up becoming a very wealthy man. So my biggest takeaway from the book would be to have a growth mindset instead of a fixed mindset. In the context of the book, the poor dad had a fixed mindset while the rich dad had a growth mindset. The rich dad would tend to think of benefits in the long run, while the poor dad would only think of the benefits in short term. So in other words, the rich dad would buy assets instead of liabilities in order to make his money work for him, while the poor dad would buy liabilities and have to work for his money and just continue the consistent loop of having to work and pay off stuff that he buys that doesn't directly benefit him. So as long as you gain the right financial knowledge and stop being afraid to take risks, you can make your money work for you. So the first way that I would incorporate this knowledge into my life is looking at my return on investment that I would get from the college that I choose to go to. So I always wanted to become an engineer, but in order to become an engineer, you really have to get an engineering degree. There's no way around that. You have to go to college. However, in order to get an engineering degree, I don't have to pay $80,000 a year to go to a big institution and be in thousands of dollars in debt after college. Instead, I'm choosing to commit to the College of New Jersey. So here I can kind of continue my passion for softball while also getting good education for little cost. That way I can start making my money work for me sooner instead of focusing on paying off debt that was not worth it in the long run. I like this book because it was straightforward, and I also like the way it was structured. The author was not afraid to share his ideals that were controversial to a lot of people, such as the middle and low income class. And also the way that it was structured, it started out with the basics, but as it continued, it started to get into more complicated concepts. But the complicated concepts were put into very simple words that were easy to understand and also taught very valuable lessons. I'm someone that does not have a lot of financial experience, but the way that this author worded his book, it was very, very easy to understand the lessons that he was trying to convey. So this book can definitely 100% help me in my life. The book's main motto was that the two greatest gifts are your mind and your time. I feel like a lot of people take their mind and time for granted, and I feel like this book was able to reinforce how grateful I should be that I have a healthy working mind and I have free will on what to do with my time. To me, this is very, very inspirational. This book also made me more interested in learning about finances, so when I'm older, I don't make the same mistakes as the poor and middle class do and end up in the rat race, as the author would call it. And lastly, just some additional thoughts and opinions that I would like to share about the book would be that this book has opened my eyes to the world that's literally right in front of me. My parents, especially my dad, don't like to take risks. And he tends to keep safe with how he spends his money, which is ultimately what I have been taught to do my whole life because he is one of my biggest influencers. My mom too has always told me, do well in school, go to college, get a steady job, work the rest of your life. However, this book has really expanded my knowledge with what I could really do with my time and my life in the future. Even though I almost feel like this book has taught me so much, I know that this is only the beginning because there's so much more I need to learn in order to be successful. And it's going to take years and years of knowledge and self-discipline to become rich, which was another big point that the author of this book came across.